All right, folks, welcome to the Jimmy O Show, Week 2 edition. We are here with our players of the week. We got two guys on right now. Cam Hamilton from the defensive line. How we doing, Cam?
Of
Of course, our poster guy here, Shadre Hurst, offensive guard. How we doing, Shadre? We will be joined in a minute by Rishi Rattan. He's getting settled in. It's one of these New Orleans September events. I'm coming to you from a laptop in my kitchen in my house in St. Francisville these days. Kind of not where I plan to be for the show. And the guys, they're in a hotel in New Orleans. I don't think that's where they plan to be tonight either. So, guys, we'll talk a little bit about sort of preparation for Oklahoma in a second, but just kind of looking back on a week, Kansas State sort of. I know there must have been a lot of frustration with obviously the way the game turned out, but sort of what's your big takeaway coming off of a loss to a team, a highly regarded team, but a team you were even with, and maybe you probably should have even won the game.
I can go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Chandra.
Okay. For me, my big takeaway was that was like a testament right there to like what we could be. Offensively, like I feel like we had a pretty good game offensively. I mean, we had a couple mistakes here and there. Pre-snap penalties and little posting up little penalties here and there that kind of set us back. But I feel like that was a testament to like who we could be or what we could be, if we were to, fix those mistakes or whatever.
Yeah. I think if you looked at it, and Cam, I'll get to you in a second, is like, the only thing that really stopped you to your point were the penalties. The second half, we had like 3 drives in a row that started with a penalty, right? Like that kind of halted any progress before we got started. I mean, otherwise it was kind of moving the ball up and down the field, running the ball well. I think Coach mentioned, it was more. We had several explosive runs. I think Mackay had 3 30-plus yard runs in the game, but they're good, right? And their scheme, it's sort of hard to know where they're going to be based on their alignment. And so they do create negative plays, but to our credit, it wasn't a ton of negative plays in a run game, but sometimes it was something looked like it was blocked up really well, and it was only a 2 or 3 yard run because they were so good in pursuit and whatnot. But we're also able to pop them on big runs. If you think back 2 years ago, there was none of that really. We quarterback was the leading rusher, and we barely could scratch and claw just a little bit. And y'all wasn't here for that, but that was a tough one. Whereas this one, we actually, your group, Shadre in particular, definitely at times controlled the game. So Cam. I saw 70 come in the game, and in that very first drive, I saw the pocket collapse. I saw just instant pressure, man. I guess that's nothing new for you. You were one of the leading pressure rates in the country last year for interior defensive linemen, and just talk a little bit, if you can, to our fans about being able to make a big impact against such a good offensive line.
I treat all the offensive line the same way. I don't run about the ranking number they got, like the top 25. I feel like all players the same to me.
Yeah.
My D line coach, he got us ready for the O line. Done that 10 day. Since the first day, he told us that they is not good like our O line from Tulane. So,
Yeah. Did you feel like that's how it kind of played out? That's how it seemed in the game that he was. Coach Wilk was right, huh? That your offensive line at Tulane's even tougher than those guys at Kansas State. So Cam, how is Coach Wilk? How's your relationship with Coach Wilkerson?
Coach Wilt, he a good coach. He really smart on the game, like passing game and stuff. How to play. He really care about his players. He asking, he made it so everything okay. Like he want about the player first before the game and stuff. He a really good coach. He one of the best coach I ever had in my career. I'm just not thinking that. Like he a smart coach. For real, though.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's awesome because I mean, look, you've had good coaches, and I just look, I met him when he came in. We had a note from Green Wave Man. Y'all know crazy Green Wave Man and his cape and all that. I said y'all played a hell of a game and y'all deserve to win. Keep up the intensity in Oklahoma, but back to that point, you've had good coaches here at Tulane, but man, from the moment I met Coach Wilk, he just seemed kind of like a special guy, and kind of got to know him a little bit, and just a great person first of all. But I can see, because of that, he's able to kind of get a lot out of y'all because y'all know he cares. You know that he cares about you. Shadre, man, look, you came on last year, you stayed on, and now you kind of developed, and I think into somebody who might compete for All-American honors, all that kind of stuff. If you stay healthy, stay going, but it's from out of the frying pan into the fire a little bit, right? Like as good as Kansas State was up front, you look ahead to Oklahoma, they are they're as good as Cam Hamilton up the middle.
Yeah, they got some good interior D linemen. Good, they got
Yeah.
some good competition up there. But I feel like we're gonna come with a good plan this week.
Yeah.
To be ready to come back that. But yeah, it's gonna be a fight up front for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at them, that's sort of their strength of their defense, really kind of right up the middle. Their interior defensive line, and then Rasheed,
What's going
interior
on?
defensive line, and then their linebackers are real good. They've always had, and they'll always have athletes out on the edges, but they're stout up the middle, and a little different in Kansas State where they'll be more cognizant of trying to take away the big play and make you work down the field. So it'll be a challenge. I guess what in your eyes is sort of the biggest sort of key for us to compete successfully against them.
For me, I mean, just it's always just I mean, like to start off, just establishing the run game. Just go ahead, get it going right off the bat. We got Makai in the backfield. I know he go, run through a couple people. So that's always the first thing for us. Just go ahead and establish
Yeah,
that. Everything will fall into place after that.
yeah. When I play, look, I always like the guy like Makai because my impression of Makai at least is if something's not blocked right, if I miss a block or play doesn't go well, he's not a guy that's gonna get in your face too often and blame you for stuff. Like he kind of digs in. He's in the trenches with you. He's a good teammate to have and a guy you wanna kind of run through a wall for because the love's mutual. Rashid, welcome, man. Good to have you on the Jimmy O show. Special teams player of the week, Rashid. Rishi, we had a little unusual. I mean, these freshman kickers, they don't give us a lot of chances to cover kicks. They like to kick it out the end zone, but when they gave us a chance, you made a huge play for us.
They got a big leg, so usually we're just running through the back of the end zone most of the time. But I think we've definitely taken a step in the right direction compared to our first week. So I think we definitely need to carry that on to this week and this weekend against Oklahoma.
Rishi, yeah, man, no doubt. Just if you can, just a little bit about your journey. I mean, you came here as a walk on. You kind of bided your time, got your education, but was part of the team, kind of little by little each year, kind of earned more and more opportunity. And now, I mean, you're one of the players of the week after a huge game.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a journey. Definitely been some ups and downs, but I mean that's just life. You know what I'm saying? I think being a part of this team, and to where I'm at today says a lot about just being persistent. Not giving up when things don't go your way, and just gotta let God handle it. So.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And yeah, I mean, look, that's sort of like you almost in many ways exemplify what this Tulane program is in a lot of ways, right? Like we started this journey, when you guys sort of, I guess you've been around a little bit longer than these other two fellows, but back 5-6 years ago, I mean, nobody was giving us respect. You can make the 3 bowl games, still nobody's paying attention, and you had the down year, and then, just like from the Cotton Bowl, then last year was a good season. We're kind of hopefully looking to have another season of that, but it's like, nothing was given to the program. The players in this program have had to earn like sort of their respect a little bit along the way, but finally people are starting to kind of realize just how good all of you guys are. So look, well, I don't want to take up too much time. If we don't, Bradley, I don't know if we have anybody. I'm talking to the producer. I don't know if we have anybody have questions really quick for the guys, but I do want to make sure we tell our fans before we switch gears over to the job takers this week. Make sure to go to our website, fearthewavecollective.com. We still have the other website, FTW Collective, but Fear the Wave Collective is the place to be. It's where you can become a member to our program and get exclusive content. If you wanted to know information about all of the visitors, for instance, at this last game, it was a huge list. The only place you can get it was through our site. We announced the starting quarterback week 1. There's just and there's a lot more content, but those are just examples of what you can get from subscribing. And then you get exclusive access you get nowhere else, and it's a great way to help these fellows out. So, guys, I think we will go ahead and turn it over to our next group if they're ready. But I appreciate you guys coming on the Jimmy O Show.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, boys. Bradley, you want to come in for a minute, and while we wait for our next guest? Thank you, guys.
What's going on, Jimmy?
Man, I'm good. I just had to kind of get home. I was going to do this from one of the offices, and then had to sort of get home in advance of approaching storm. So I'm in temporary quarters. So I apologize to the people for sort of the dark room or whatever, and some of the background noise. But
bad news is, looks like we got a Category 1 that's going to be rolling over parts of South Louisiana. The good news is it does not affect the weekend.
Yeah. I feel like all things considered, we'll see. It didn't hit yet, but like it's moving fast. It's Category 1.
It can't be worse than the storm that was those was it Big 12 refs?
Good Lord, man. Yeah, I mean, I was standing right there for the reversal, and I didn't see the flag. I mean, I saw the touchdown, saw the celebration. I anytime my team scores a touchdown, I'm trained as a Tulane and Saints fan. I am trained to look for yellow laundry. Did not see a flag, and then all of a sudden I'm like, they're calling it back. Like I was more in shock because we were going for 1. I thought maybe he'd go for 2, and I'm saying, well, okay, I think coach we got a better kicker. We probably have a better quarterback. I mean, I guess it makes sense of going through all this. The next thing you know, the ball's being spotted at the 16. I'm like, wait, what's happening here?
Did they give an explanation after?
No. I mean, what's really bad when you watch the video, I mean, it's obvious. Like if anything, it's a sort of a defensive holding. I mean, they're allowed to contact within 5 yards, but I mean, if any, but it was certainly the defensive back impeding Dante's route. And then the worst part is like that didn't even pick the defender that was coming over who was responsible for Yuki. I mean, it was just like bad all around. And then the very next play, jump ball to Alex in the corner of the end zone. And I mean, defender doesn't turn around, makes early contact, whatever. They keep the flag in the pocket. It's like, there was a lot of stuff throughout the game. Yeah. I mean, our guy, Green Wave man, who's listening to me, he went all the way in on social media with throughout the game of just a bunch of the calls that occurred. I mean, it was the lateral first play of the game. They throw a lateral that they let stand as an incomplete pass. I mean, just kind of a bunch of that kind of stuff. Obvious cheating, according to
we could say this kind of stuff on this show.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we do have to think about like, are we gonna rethink sort of like this traditional arrangement where the visiting team provides the officials. I mean, because we're now in an era where there's millions of dollars at stake for the different conferences, right?
Jimmy,
Like,
I don't think that goes like that in other conferences. Like the SEC, if they play another conference, they use a alternate conference officiating crew, not for
yeah.
either of the two.
And I know like in bowls that happens, and I know like neutral site games.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But like just a traditional away game, I don't think it's across the board, but it's not uncommon for the away team to bring their refs.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if Oklahoma agreed to let the American officials come do the Oklahoma game. It'd be interesting to see if that's the case.
I'll tell you this though, it was tough because I was watching college football throughout the day, despite the fact that I had my son's 11th birthday party. So at the pickleball exchange, everybody was going nuts in that pass interference call. But the officiating on Saturday across the board was terrible. From the Notre Dame game to the Oklahoma-Houston game, it was bad everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, Notre Dame, they tried to bail.
They tried to bail them out. They tried to.
It was about a yard and a half short.
Oh man, I was saying the line judge on that was so lazy. So I'm gonna bring these job takers on.
You got it, man. Gentlemen, how we doing today?
Going on? How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good, man. Welcome to the Jimmy O Show. There we go. We got 3 fellas there.
Oh,
all right, we got our job takers, man. Job taker. I love that title Coach Summerall brought to the occasion for guys who just show out in practice, give a good look. Why don't you guys introduce yourself to our audience? Tell us tell us where you're from. Tell just a little bit what grade you're in, what position you play, where you're from.
I'm from Texas. My name is Kellen Tasby, from Little Elm, North Dallas. I'm a quarterback, and I am a freshman at Tulane.
I'm Alex Wigginton. I'm a sophomore. I'm from Boca Raton, Florida, and I play receiver.
My name's Carson Klein. I'm from Dallas, Texas. I play safety, and I'm a freshman.
Very good, guys. Welcome. Kellen, man, you had the task of having to mimic Avery Johnson, I guess, this week, huh?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I did.
How'd you feel? You feel like you pulled it off pretty well?
I think I gave the defense a really good look. Usually, whenever I was going in, it was really just like making sure that I knew, like the defense knew that I had a chance to like pull the ball and run, or like when I had it was a pass play, I was scrambling a lot and making sure I got to the edges pretty fast. So, they know that he can run, so they have to make sure they can play in space as well.
Yeah, I thought with that guy, like, and it's hard to replicate in practice because so much of what he's best at is sort of off script, right? Like, because it's not like the old days, like, here's your play card and like this is how the play is going to go. We're going to give that look. I mean, with that guy, it's more okay. And this is the play call, but he's gonna make one read and he's probably bailing and he's really elusive out of pocket, throwing off platform, all these other things. Like his physical traits were great. Honestly, to be completely candid, I thought Darian was, far more advanced in terms of processing and feel for actually the position, right? But I just think Johnson just brought a lot to the table in terms of his athleticism. So tough to replicate, but I'm sure you did a good job throughout practice because
yes, sir.
Our guys seem ready.
Yes, sir. Yeah, they are ready.
Yeah. And then Alex, I guess you were the special teams job taker this week?
Yes, sir, I was.
All right. So what responsibilities did you have to sort of to replicate from a special team? Was it more coverage? Was it return? What was it?
It was more, from my understanding, where I got it was on scout punt this week because their Kansas State's punt formation had extremely wide splits, and I was playing left guard, and my teammate Trevor Evans was playing left tackle, and pretty much every play, but they'd pick the guard and the tackle. So the guard would go first, tackle would wrap around, and I would usually get double teamed. So I just gave my guys the best look I could, be the best teammate I could. And I mean, it's fun. I like it.
Yeah. No, that's a lot of fun, man. And then look, when you're talking about like sort of, it's such an important part of the game. And if you look at where we went from week one. You always hear the thing about you improve most between week 1 and week 2. And to be honest with you, our week 1 special teams left a lot to be desired. But in this game, it was actually a strength. I mean, they were okay. You know, I don't necessarily know it swung the game, but I know that if we'd have played the way we played on special teams in week 1, we would have lost this game comfortably. Whereas, you know, I thought we were real on point throughout, real clean from a special teams perspective. Great net punt average. You know, we made a couple long field goals. Kick off. We were pretty much all touchbacks, and when we didn't, we were inside the 20. And then we had we sprung a couple of nice returns. So huge improvement there. And I mean, it comes down to replicating live reps in practice. You know, if people go through special teams, go through the motions in practice, then that's going to show on Saturday. And thankfully, we got guys like you giving good looks so that we get that kind of performance on a Saturday. It's a huge part of the game.
Yes, sir. Special teams is our biggest probably key, like as a team, to improve on. That was probably what we focused on the most for practice last week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it showed, man. So that portends good things, right? Like if this staff says, you know, this is the biggest key, and we actually execute, if we could do that every week, we'll be just fine. What's so in Klein, Mr. Klein, I'll get to you as well. So did you work as a safety in the as a scout team member, or were you kind of moving around?
Yeah, I worked as a safety. I was number 6. I knew he was a pretty good cat for Kansas State, so I knew like it was a pretty important assignment. So I need to know like when to like crack down, so I get like into an uncrackable split for the receivers. I also just fit the gaps and just do what I could to give a good look.
Yeah, look at that. My old teammate Cyril Brockmeyer popping in on the Jimmy O show. How about that? He's giving you guys some props for selflessness. Cyril was an outstanding tackle for Tulane and then went on to coach and knows a ton about this game and understands the importance of what you guys did. So, but I got to ask you this: like, did you get toasted as much in practice as 6 did in the game? Because I say that I don't know that 6 necessarily was the one getting toasted, but we did throw the ball all over the yard on those guys.
I did not. I'd say I'd covered maybe a little bit better than that, personally.
Very good. All right, you gave a better look than they saw on Saturday. That's the goal, right? That's the goal. Anytime we get out there to do this. All right, so looking ahead at Oklahoma, man. So what are y'all roles at Oklahoma? Are you being Jackson Arnold this week, Kellen?
Sure, yeah. They have me as number 11 this week, so I gotta wear the jersey with some pride and take ownership. Make sure I do everything I can for the defense.
Yeah, look, that's another blue chip guy. It's a highly regarded guy coming in, young guy, inexperienced, but a guy the national media seems to think the world of, and for good reason. Lots of physical ability there, and so it's a tough look to replicate. But I know you got a lot more RPO. I think. I don't know. Kansas State had a good bit of that too, but a lot of RPO looks, I think, with this guy, and make sure you give our guys a good look. How about you guys, Alex and Klein? What are y'all sort of responsible for this week?
I'm just playing scout receiver again. Like you said, they run a lot of RPO, so that's honestly been what we've pretty much been running all week. And special teams, they run a lot more traditional stuff. The coordinator was at San Diego State, I think last year, 2 years ago, so we watched a little bit of that film, Oklahoma film. So they run a lot more traditional stuff. I know, like on kickoff return, scout kickoff return, I'm playing the field center, and you usually stand alone on the 35, and like he goes all the way to reach out on the 2. So like that's something different that they do. So just giving 100% effort, giving my guys the best look so they can be ready on Saturday.
Nice, man. How about you? Yep, there you
go. For me, I'm number 2 this week. He's the strong safety. They play a lot of cover 2 and cover 1, so I'm kind of just in the post and on the halves.
Now, is that Billy Bowman in real life, or is that or is that somebody else? I know Bowman.
That's another player. I'm pretty sure Bowman's 22.
22. Okay, that's right.
That's right.
Yeah, man. How excited are y'all to sort of take in the sort of atmosphere and whatnot in Norman, Oklahoma?
Well, See, like in practice now, like, they're actually trying to like, simulate it to where like they're actually putting like actual crowd noise on like the speakers that we have because, we want to like, take in and like simulate as much as the game as possible because our coaches were telling us like it's gonna be loud. Like they have like 80,000 plus people in that stand. So like, just doing everything we can to, make sure our starters, are ready for the game is like very important to us. So
Yeah, now look, that's the hardest thing to replicate too. I mean, you could do more nowadays with artificial noise, but I mean, we played there 3 years ago, but it was kind of coming off of COVID, and there were still some restrictions, and so I think it was only like 45,000 only, right? But I think it was like half full, a little bit over half was allowed. Otherwise, the stadium was blocked off. They couldn't yet fill it all the way up, and this is going to be something, man. They're going to have the Boomer Sooner out there, and they'll have the wagon, and they'll have Toby Keith before the fourth quarter, and all the different things they do. But at the end of the day, it's a football game, right? And the field's still 100 yards. Last I checked, still 53 in the third wide, and we gotta cover that space and attack that space better than they do, and if we do, we'll be all right. So. I know unusual circumstances. Y'all in a hotel tonight. You got to kind of figure out a practice plan as we go. I know football in New Orleans is never without a little bit of adversity from the weather, but I trust you guys are gonna put in good work, no matter what the situation provides. So, guys, I appreciate all your hard work, everything you do for the program. It's awesome, man, and just keep grinding, and that'll be you one day on Saturday afternoons, even this year, right? So just keep it up, brother, and let's roll wave.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, man. Appreciate y'all time. Thanks for coming on.
All right, Jimmy. Any final thoughts to wrap up the show for this week?
Yeah, man. Look, it's such a huge opportunity, right? Like, so we're sort of in this jockeying for position among the G5 for a playoff spot. Obviously, none of that happens without winning your conference, and so that's down the road, and that has to happen. And I'm not taking that for granted. There's, South Florida's a good team, Memphis is a good team. Who knows who else is gonna appear? Actually, Charlotte looks pretty talented. I mean, there's some competition there, and you can't take any of that lightly. But in addition to that, you kind of got to have that showcase performance, right? And Texas State went out and absolutely pasted UTSA, which is gotten. I was skeptical because that UTSA was a great team just from the standpoint that they lost their 7-year starting quarterback. I mean, a guy, the legend in the program, Frank Harris. It seemed like a lot of people were assuming they would be able to transition that easier than I think they did, but some were picking them to finish above us in the conference standings, and they got destroyed by Texas State in the Sun Belt. Well, Texas State goes out and they run the table in the Sun Belt, which is hard, right? But were they to do that, and they got that win on their resume, and we don't have a win against Kansas State or a win against Oklahoma, I mean, we may not get the bid even if we went, say, 11-1, so 12-1 with the conference championship. So it's big from that standpoint, right? Like, and that's the hard part about being sort of screwed in Kansas State. It's not like being an SEC team where, if you lose a non-conference game on a controversial call, whatever, like as long as you take care of business in the league, you're still going to go to the playoff. That was one that got away, not completely due to our own shortcoming. The third parties intervening on that is particularly frustrating because of what's at stake. But be that as it may, I mean, if you can go out and take care of business in Oklahoma, you pull an upset in Oklahoma, it doesn't matter because no other G5 team will have that sort of chip on its resume. So you do that, and then you go take it.
Are there any places where you see Tulane winning against Oklahoma in certain aspects of the game?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think we will probably have a harder time at production from an offensive standpoint just because of the matchup. I mean, I think Oklahoma is strong where we're strong up the middle linebacker. It'll be hard to really control the game with a run. So now you're talking about a young quarterback with 2 starts under his belt, sort of doing things through the air. in a hostile environment. That's a lot to ask of him. I think he's incredible and advanced beyond his years, and I think he's a future superstar. But at the same time, this is that's a lot to ask of him in that situation. And particularly if you end up in obvious pass spots, 3rd and long type of situations. I'm not saying we're not going to be able to run the ball, and I'm saying it will be a challenge to do so. We will have to be on point for sure. And so if you find yourself there a lot, it's going to be hard. I don't, 34, 27 points, stuff like that, that'd be tough. I think to win, it needs to be a lower score game. Now, I do think, to your question, I do think they've struggled offensively. I think they sort of had a lot of injuries on their offensive line, and we have a lot of talent on our defensive front. And I think the opportunity exists to create some havoc from a line of scrimmage standpoint on defense. And if you can create some big plays, create some turnovers, and really kind of keep their scoring down, you can probably win the opportunity to win a tight one, 20-17, something like that, I think exists.
Jimmy, this is kind of serendipitous. Was it 2 or 3 years ago, coming off a hurricane, we were at Oklahoma. We should have won the game, right?
Yeah, 40-35. We lost at Oklahoma. We were only playing
following Hurricane Ida. Yeah, and so here we are, another hurricane coming, headed back to Oklahoma. Hopefully they don't take us seriously. And we can bring it to them.
Yeah, I think they'll. I think it'll be hard to. I guess we shouldn't count on Oklahoma not taking us seriously. Particularly after that game, but also what's been put on tape so far this year. I think they realized that we present a challenge.
Yeah. So we'll see. Well, Roll Wave, it's funny. It was fun, Jimmy, doing another week. Look forward to it next week. I think hopefully we have something to celebrate.
You got it, man. Thank you for everything, Bradley. Appreciate it. Everybody,
later,
fearthewavecollective.com. Get Go to that website. Get involved.
Y'all stay safe.
All right. Stay safe, everybody.